Welcome everyone to another Maine SBDC webinar. Today we're going over last minute holiday prep. So if you're anything like me, I am surprised to see the holidays are right upon us. And so hopefully your business has been prepping along the way, but if not, we're here to help with some tips and tricks. And in particular, we're going to talk about some service-based businesses and how to market that as a gift. We have Maine SBDC at CEI Business Advisor Peter Piconi today, and my name is Kelsey Reardon. So I'm sure you've gotten many emails from me already. You will receive another follow-up email from me later today that will include all of our contact information, including Peter's email, as well as the slides from today's presentation and a link to the recording. And a link to request business advising. So if you are not already set up with a Maine SBDC business advisor, or you are not familiar, we are the Maine Small Business Development Centers, and we are here to help with any business needs you may have, any questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question or a too small question. We're here to help at any stage. And so all of that information will be in my email, including any other links we may reference along the way. Please use the chat feature to submit any questions you have. We'd love to know who you are, what kind of business or what industry you're in. If you have a holiday website or e-commerce site set up, we'd love to see that. You can throw that in the chat. And yeah, any questions you have along the way. We'll definitely have time for Q&A at the end as well. Otherwise, I think I'll pass it over to Peter.
All right, super. Kelsey, thank you and welcome everyone. A little Merry Christmas early today, a little bit. We're going to look at how to do this today. So I was super excited to get to do this one. I was in retail for almost 20 years. I had my own business, internet site, and I was part of the service-based business also. So I was doing services for fishing and taking people out fishing, and then with the full retail side with many employees. So I can feel some of your pain right now. So let's get started and just look at some of the ways. Let me go over some of the broad brushstrokes though, just to start with some housekeeping to start. So this conversation and this webinar is being recorded and it's going to be emailed to you after the presentation, so don't feel like you have to take notes. There'll be links and things we're talking about. You'll be able to go back and get those. This way you can interact with myself. If you could keep yourself on mute, that's great. And submit any questions in the chat. If there's a burning question, I'm going to answer it right then. This is a really intimate format, so I'll probably just answer things right away. So that number 2 there, I'm going to say, don't worry about that. You don't have to keep yourself on mute. Just stop me when you have a question and just jump right in because it'll make more sense. This is a smaller group. Looks like we've got something in the chat there too. Okay, looks like, thank you both. Looks like we have 2 businesses. Someone mentioned their businesses, Maine Chocolate Confections, Freeport and Brunswick. Thank you. If there's, I think we have one more. If you could put your business in the chat, that's going to help me tailor my conversations to probably meet your needs a little bit better. And I don't mind doing that as we go forward. Okay. So right away, I want to start out with a thank you because Maine is based on businesses, some big, some small, some medium, but you are the backbone of Maine. What you're doing motivates me, and that's your motivation. And I love this quote because Thomas Edison said, most people miss opportunity because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. You as a small business owner are doing the work to get there. So I want to say thank you for doing the work, but thank you for leaning into us and working with us from the Maine SBDC. Okay, just a brief overview of what we're going to do today. This is the agenda, super simple. So first of all, just in theory, I want to talk about what is a service-based business, just in case we weren't sure. We're going to define the business need. What is it that you're actually getting at as part of these sales? Might be different than you think. And then where do you add value to create that need? What does the value proposition look like, right? And then how do you create a product that solves the need? Like, these are key parts of the conversation, even though the tips are important, you have to know where you're coming from to basically get where you want to go. And then last but not least, I'll give you some resources to end up where we're at. So just so we're all on the same page, a service-based business is just something that has a service component to it. For example, my business, I was a retail fly fishing shop. I was on the West Coast, so big, 3,000 square feet. So we would teach casting lessons. We would do guided trips all over the world. We added value-added services. So that's for example. A hair cutter is a service-based business. If you're a tax preparer, if you're dog grooming, if you're a florist, ski lessons. Let's just say you're a firm and you're a lawyering firm, right? You're service-based. If you're a retailer, obviously you're a retailer. So we've set the groundwork. Let's look at what that looks like. What is the value add for your business? And you're going to think it's your product or your service, but it turns out some of the things we step over to get to that dollar that we want is it's based on that relationship with the client, right? So that client relationship is actually the kind of the bedrock. It's the keystone to what you do. So think about when we're having these conversations today, what adds value to that client relationship? One of the biggest things human beings lack right now in the COVID, guess what? They lack connection. You're going to give them part of what they need right now. It's in that relationship, selling them what they need. So you're actually forming a need right away. So I just wanted to call that out. You're filling a need right away. So for a service-based business, the framework for this conversation will be, what's the value proposition, right? What are you offering them? Is there a problem you're solving, right? Hey, you know what? You need a gift. It's for your crazy uncle. And you might have a gift for a crazy uncle, right? Maybe it's a bad tie, who knows? Or maybe it's a tie that lights up. So you're solving their problem. So if you can, identify the problem you're going to solve for your consumer, whoever that is. I'm going to talk more about that. When you have a solution, you're good to go. You're going to meet their need right away. And then think about, in this framework, where you have a competitive edge over somebody else. Everybody shops around the world now, right? They can get things, but they can't get it from you because you have some edge that no one else has. I don't care what it is, but make sure your consumer knows what that edge is. One of the other strategies for the framework for this conversation is how to compete, right? And I want you not to discount your product. I'm going to talk about discounting later, so it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek, but try not to discount your pricing because that's where your margin is, right? I don't want you to give away margin. So compete on the value that you're giving your consumer, right? Identify your strengths. If it's soft skills, great. Is it the fact that you're closer to them? Great, right? But highlight the value for your consumers. Let them know. Be a good ambassador for your business, right? And what that does, it gives them that value that you're bringing, not the price, the value you as a person, your team, your staff, gives them the opportunity to try new aspects of your business, right? Because they won't be able to get chocolate. Someone mentioned they have a chocolate business. They won't be able to get chocolate from anyone else but you. And you know more about chocolate in Maine than anyone else I know, right? So that's how I'm going to think about it. So build strength into that relationship. I'm speeding up here, so I'm going to try to slow down. Hey, and I just want to ask the folks in the crowd a quick question. I see that we have one business that weighed in as a chocolatier, correct? What is the other business? Can somebody?
Looks like a massage, yoga, body works
Okay.
place.
All right, thank you. Perfect. Then thank you, Kelsey. Appreciate it. So I'm going to speak to those two things specifically. So I'm not trying to call you out, but because I know who's in the audience, I'm going to try to give you some options, right? Okay. So what is your goal for your holiday sales? You have gotten no tips yet from me, but I want to make sure you understand, if you just want to create more sales, that may not be your goal, right? And you guys are pausing it. Like, what do you mean? I do want more sales. You're like, well, you could, but do you want more sales now? Or do you want more sales in the spring and the summer? Is there a seasonality to your business? Like, I can only get the dark chocolate like in the spring, right? Wow, I don't want to try to sell dark chocolate right now. I can't get, and I'm making that up because I don't know chocolate, but, or like, hey, I'm a one man, or I have 2 employees right now, but I have more employees in the spring and summer for massage, right? So you might want to market gift certificates to that person then, right? Or maybe your goal is just to create more engaged consumers. You don't need their sales, you're busy, but you want to create more market share, right? That's a newsletter. That's a different format for what you're doing. So think about these thoughts and then how these fit into your long-term marketing strategy, right? And it could be very long-term. So Christmas might be good for you, but it's really part of a longer-term strategy, right? And then look at what your customers do. Okay. A little more theory for just one more slide. So thanks for bearing with me. But one thing, what I noticed with most retailers is they're selling something and they're getting their product out there, but they've never sat down and said, this is my audience. Like, who eats chocolate? Is it mostly women over 40 that actually it's a craving they have, or it's an outlet, right? Or is it men that are under 30, right? Who is it specifically? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? This tells you about how some of your marketing works, right? Are they male or female? What age bracket do they fit in, right? Are they 55 plus? Right? Is it for people, for example, if you're a masseuse business, right? People as they age have more aches and pains and they need more, their muscles worked on a little bit more, right? So maybe your demographic is 45 plus, right? So think about what that looks like for you as you hear me talk about different avenues for what you're doing. Okay, let's get into the nuts and bolts of some things you can do. Some of these things require that you would have started sooner, and I'm still going to talk about them because the benefit of being a small business is you can pivot as often as you need to because you're small. So even if you don't have a lot of runway or a lot of lead time to some of these, it still works for you. It can't hurt you at this point. So one of the key things that's already out there is to make use of social media. This is one of the probably the least understood tools, even though we all use it. Most of it use it kind of only about 40% of the way, or 50 or 60%. This is where you might want to reach out to your SBDC advisor. I'm going to do a little plug for us right now because we can help you with this. We have experts on staff. Don't look at myself. I'm okay with social media, but I'm a little older crowd, right? So, but we have some great advisors and I pull them in and they help me tell my clients how to leverage the social media that they have. The neat thing about social media is you can deliver content in directly to your consumer. It could be hashtag, it could be Instagram. Creating those contents and those promotions is actually a lot simpler for you, so you can make good use of your time. Helps your consumer de-stress for the holidays, right? It probably helps you de-stress because you can send out an Instagram post and probably in the first 20 minutes get a sense of who's going to respond to it. And Instagram, let's face it, is a much younger crowd. So you're going to see how your younger crowd thinks about chocolate, right? Or how they think about getting a massage, right? So these are the things you can get feedback on right away versus an email takes a little longer for people to click on. So think about it that way. You can also create content that's going to identify new products. Maybe maybe you went to Sweden and you got a new massage technique from the Swedish guru and you came back and you're going, oh, you've got to book a time with me for next year, right? I've got this super Swedish massage. You're a guru now. So that's another thing. You can blog about what's coming up, right? And give people things to go read. So many options here. This is a deeper hole, but I want to let you know there's a lot of strategies here. Again, reach out to the SBDC advisors. So newsletters are what we've done forever, right? On some level in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we still did newsletters, but we mailed them out. Sorry, I'm showing my age now a little bit, but we actually put everything in the mail, right? And then in the 90s, we could just zip them in email. So an email marketing strategy is really key for what you do. Again, we have folks that can help you with this or help you formulate a plan, even on short notice, right? These kind of newsletters allow you to feature what you're doing, things that are specific to you, and create that value add with the relationship we talked about. You can offer your deals if you want to. You can offer incentives, right? Those incentives might look like, buy 3 massages, get the next one at 50% off, right? Or buy the first one and get your second one at half price, whatever you want to do. But you can offer your specific solutions. You can tell them about your competitive edge, right? And then you can give them a solution. This one's a little bigger lift, right? If you're a service-based business, you could create a holiday themed event, right? Something for that. And I live on the mid-coast in Camden, Maine, and we just had a parade go through town, and all the businesses, believe it or not, they let businesses put a logo on their car and drive in the holiday parade. So there was a business in there that was, what were they doing? They were just a restaurant, but they put a bunch of Chinese food on top of their car. It was a Chinese food place, right? And they have these Chinese boxes. And I was like, I didn't even know that Chinese food place was there. I'm like, wow. And they just decorated their car and drove in the parade. So you could create one, or you can make yourself part of a themed event, but keep it really simple. The holidays is a time when we typically ramp up, right? So make it simple for yourself. If you want, provide knowledge, right? Maybe there's a guest you're going to bring in your store, have them come in. If you're concerned about COVID and driving people down to the store, right? Maybe that's not a cool thing for you to do in your community, is driving people to an interior space. Hold it outdoors, right? Do it outdoors. Hopefully it's a nice day, or put it on a patio where something's covered, right? You can serve food as part of this. Have some hot cider. These don't cost you much for like some cups and some, basically the cost of some hot chocolate and some cider. You're going to have a great engagement with your community and build that relationship. That relationship adds value. You add value, you create sales, right? Then if you'd like, you can offer some in-store promotions for what you're doing. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading some of the chat stuff, so I'm going to pause a little bit. So I want to make sure I'm up to speed. Someone mentioned they also do sporting goods. That's interesting.
Yeah, we've got another guest who is more in retail, but online, so e-commerce.
And then someone does sporting goods, primarily fly fishing online. That's interesting because, oops, sorry, guys. Excuse me, I just pressed the button I didn't mean to. So let me get to where you were. Okay. So new person in the room, thank you for joining us. You're an outdoor retailer. It sounds like you're fly fishing. So turns out that's what I did for 20 years. So feel free to reach out to me when we're done. I was steeped in that for almost 20 years. So I want to make sure you get your due, but we probably need a longer conversation. So I'm going to make sure we have a chance to connect when we're done. So creating a holiday package is a great strategy for what we're doing. These could be bonus hours, and I have that in quotes. Bonus is a value, really, and you're not really giving anything up except your time. This does not cost you money. That's key. So let's say, for example, in our chocolate metaphor, every time they buy some chocolate, they get the option to attend some sort of chocolate webinar that you put on, or maybe they get to come in for a seminar, right, or something like that. If you're a masseuse, obviously this is pretty straightforward. You can give them an extra 15 minutes, right? Oh wow, you've bought 4. Guess what, man, we really appreciate your business. I'm going to give you an extra 20 minutes. They're like, oh wow, that's great, right? You can do those value adds at the time of the purchase, or you can advertise, right? So hey, if you buy 5 sessions with us, you're going to get an extra half hour on any session you want, right? So all you're doing is trading your time and not your money. Don't trade your margin away. Do not do that. Okay, especially in retail. It's hard enough to make a 40% margin. I want you to trade your time. Time adds value because it creates the interaction. And you can see the equation I put in here, right? More interaction creates more education. When you educate them, guess what? They're more inspired to buy something because they're educated now, right? Because you've shown them something that is a need, right? Not a want, it's a need, right? Hey, we find that people that get a massage every month and a half, they tend to live longer. They have better heart rates. So do your homework. And I was making that up. I don't know that, but just as an example. By the way, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. Kelsey, thank you for laughing. My humor is not that good. Okay, let's look at helping people, right? They have a problem, you need to do that. Help people achieve New Year's resolutions is a key component. We usually do this after the holidays, but you can actually help them do it ahead of time, right? And this makes me think of the masseuse, right? You can be healthier you, right? Or maybe you want to spend more time with your family. And you can help them as part of that strategy going. You can schedule your fly fishing lessons or your outdoor lessons with your family. You get some time one-on-one on the water with them, right? They have buying power that gives value, saves money, and it brings them back, right? Oh, if you buy 2 casting lessons, you get the third one free. And on the third one, you can bring a friend. See what I've done? When you bring the friend, guess what? Now he's going to want a fly rod. So now you have to sell him a fly rod because now he knows how to use it. Okay. So again, you're only trading your time. But where it makes sense to discount, I get that. Do what makes sense for you, right? Your business, you know it the best, right? So do what makes sense for your business. Part of what Maine is good at is keeping in touch with the local, small communities, right? Maine is typically built on small communities. If you're south in Portland, obviously they're larger communities, but I want you to learn to resource the things that are right in front of you. Number one is your local chamber of commerce. They're probably doing a whole series of events you may or not be aware of. My advising region is out of the Waterville office, so Somerset County. The Mid-Maine Chamber of Commerce does a phenomenal job of creating email newsletters. You can get on their newsletter, right? Be a member of the chamber, number one. Once you're a member of the chamber, you can go out in their newsletter. They will promote you for free. They will do a ribbon cutting at your business. You could reopen your business. You could do that, right? So I want you to leverage your local resources to connect with your community. This is not hard to do. If you don't know who that is, let us know and we'll help you find them. You could be part of the holiday parade for your town. And I talked about this a few minutes before, but find out when that parade is. Slap some stickers on your car and something funny, and then put your son up in the roof, right? Dressed as Santa Claus, right? Play some music, but let people see who you are. Create more exposure, right? This is free marketing. And it costs you 20 minutes of your time in a parade and probably 2 gallons of gas, right? One of the least known things people do, but it probably adds the most value, is you volunteering. You're giving away your free time for nothing. So volunteer is at the soup kitchen, maybe, right? Or maybe you're volunteering at a local hospital. Maybe you're volunteering to bring meals to people, right? Maybe you're volunteering to help elderly people get their groceries, right? Maybe you're volunteering at the local Y, teaching people how to work out, right? And then what you can do is you can, in your newsletter, or you can blog going, it's the giving season. This is what we're doing to reconnect with our community. This is us giving back. And don't be bashful about sharing that with your consumer, because your consumer is going to know, A, you're a real person, B, you have a heart, and C, guess what? Wow, I want to support that person. They're doing good things right in my backyard. They probably have an elderly person they know that needs help. So you're pulling on the heartstrings. It's part of your marketing just by volunteering your time. But I want to call this out. You're a small business and your time is valuable. and you're probably running most of it on your own potentially, right? So be wise with your time too when you look at this version of that. You could, let's say you're a chocolate retailer, you could donate some of your chocolate for there's a percentage of all your chocolate sales where you donate chocolate to give gifts for kids at Christmas, right? So the dentist won't like you doing this, obviously, but what you could do is, 1% of our proceeds we give back. And at certain holidays, Easter, the candy holidays, we actually build gift baskets for kids so that kids that are homeless or kids that are foster kids have options for gifts, right? Here's another strategy that some retailers do know of, but they're reluctant to ask for, right? You can partner with another retailer, maybe, or maybe you're going to partner with your distributor, right? And partnering with your retailer is more strategic. You're going to pick that person based on their needs, and they might mesh with your needs, right? But they probably have done a lot of good marketing themselves, right? So if you see someone that's done some good marketing, you can copy what they do, number one, but what you can do too is identify them as a partner and say, hey, is there anything we can do together? I'll promote your business and they will in turn promote theirs. They'll put you in their newsletter. Let's say, here's a great example. We have a chocolate and a masseuse person in the room, right? What if the chocolate says, hey, chocolate's good for you. It's good for your heart. That is a real thing, I think, on some level. But they could say, you know what another good thing is? It's getting a massage, right? So they can go, hey, and they're right the other side of town. They're friends of ours. They're great. They can push you out through their network. That's a whole new network you would have never reached. So start to resource the people that are in your own town. Typically, we like to use complementary service industries, right? So if you're outdoor industry, you're going to be in more outdoor-based industries, right? Since I was in fly fishing, outdoor retail, and travel, I was typically researching the local REI or some sort of hiking store, or if like there was a ski shop, I was resourcing with them, or a mountain bike shop. Every mountain biker rides by a stream, and I do a seminar on how to ride your mountain bike and get your favorite fly fishing spot, right? How do you pack your fly rod? How do you do that? Like, I would just give them knowledge, right? And I would do a 20-minute webinar and come to their shop and do it. So these are complementary service things. Helps expand your networks, and it creates a whole new reference point. So ideas are what I'm good at, especially thinking outside the box, but find your partners. Strategically, though, take some time to think who that is and what's going to work best for you. This one takes a little more time, and I want to be careful here because it's not easy to get in the news, right? You need to establish a relationship with the local media, but guess what? The local media always needs a story. They're always looking for a story, always. And it has to meet their needs, right? But a lot of times they want to tell a great Christmas story, right? So if you have something that can pull on the heartstrings, right, or that is timely for the season, whether it's Christmas or Easter or what have you, this is a great way for you to team up with a local news source, right? You can just let them know. Send them an email saying, hey, I just want to put this on your radar. These are some of the things we're doing. Would love to tell you more about it. Boom, just an email, right? But this tells your story. Don't be afraid to keep telling your story, right? I just did a webinar a couple of weeks back on how to talk about your business. It's actually like a pitch thing, right? But you need to be able to talk about your business in 3 or 4 sentences and tell people what you do, what it means for them, and what the value add is and how it gives back to your community. So these are all things that will help you strategically leverage what's already out there to build your brand and your business. So another things about service-based businesses, you can give incentives, right? But there's different kinds. There's economic incentives, right? So we've talked about the economic ones. Hey, you get one for free. Buy 4, get 1 free. Okay, that's doing what's best for them. There are social incentives. Those receptions, they're doing the right thing, right? Hey, don't drive to your favorite fishing destination. Take your bike, pack your fly rod. See, it's green. That's a much smaller carbon footprint. Your consumer now feels like they're giving back, right? Or if there's a moral incentive, right? By doing or not doing the right thing. Is there a moral incentive to helping elderly people in our community? Absolutely, right? That's a good moral positivity, right? So you're playing on their conscience. We've touched base on most of these already, but I want to call it out specifically so that it's in writing. So when you think about how you're going to market it, right, take a day or two and look at Christmas and what works for you and what story you're going to tell. And these are some of the storylines you can use. This is another one. You can run a giveaway event. I used to do this. I used to give away a steelhead trip to British Columbia every year, and it was a super hot item, right? It's because that trip was worth $2,000, right? But I would purposely make sure that I had 5 clients, which paid for that extra spot. So it was already paid for. I didn't lose any money. It was a little more work for me, but I got a new person. And that promoted a feature of my business that was new, right? Maybe me fishing in British Columbia for steelhead was new, and I wanted to promote that. So the more people that went, the more people would talk about it. And it gives me an excuse to bring somebody new on the sport. I could sell another fly. Right? So you can give away, like say, hey, if you enter a raffle, right, you get a free box of chocolates. And not just one box. You get 4 boxes a year sent quarterly. So you can give them like a sampler box, right? So don't do it just once. Have it show up every year, and they're going to remember that they got a cool item. And so you can all see that picture on the top right. I'm using that picture because you're planting seeds for the consumer to spend now, but also to send later. Let the consumer come back to you. So that interaction you have doesn't happen just once. You're setting them up to actually come back and spend more money. Not once, but twice, 3 times, 4 times over. And again, sell to your strengths. Don't try to do something that doesn't make sense for your business. And it should always pencil out. Don't lose money on it. Make sure you don't lose money on it. Be gift friendly. How you structure the deal is important, right? Create a package that looks like a gift. And I'm not talking like what it looks like per se, but you can offer bundled sessions. We've talked about that. 3 for the price of, 3 for the price of 2, right? Gift cards are really popular because they're easy to do. I always shop for the last minute. I'm your typical guy when it comes to buying, even though I was in sales, right? I hate going out and buying gifts, believe it or not. I like it when it's easy. So if I can buy a gift card and it comes in a little box, like on the right, and it's already prepackaged, I would buy that lickety split. Because guess what? That gift card in a box, I could put on the tree. And I'm not good at wrapping, right? I don't know who's good at wrapping, but I'm not. So gives you ideas. You can have punch passes, right? You buy 3 boxes of chocolate, you get the 4th half off, and you have a punch pass, right? So, or if like, hey, you come into our shop and you just walk in the shop 4 times, you get something for doing that, right? Maybe you get a free little sampler chocolate, right? And they have to punch in every time, right? Make it work for your business, right? And you can be very creative here. Okay, we have like burned through 30 minutes and faster than I've ever seen, right? That was a lot of information. But really that's just the kind of the tip of the iceberg for me as far as holiday things. So I'm happy to work with any of you that you want to. You can find me through the SBDC site, but I want to make sure going away that you have some resources to take home. This is your homework, so to speak. So the SBDC has some great links here. That first link is their marketing and resources page. That's you can read through things there. That's just how to write a business marketing plan. So that's a good place to start. The SBDC has a phenomenal YouTube channel. Their content is some of the most clicked on stuff that I've seen. And there's different aspects of what we've talked about today. That's a great link to go to. There's another link in there called Content Bistro. I just found that today. I was Googling some stuff, and these are 37 creative, easy ways to increase sales, right? This is a kind of a fun one. It's an easy read. It'll take you 10 minutes, and you might find some new ideas there. And each idea is like 4 lines. So you don't have to do a lot of work here, right? And then that very bottom one, it's called Click X, right? And that sounds like a bad link anyways. I wouldn't click on that. But the nice thing about this website, they're always trying to sell you something here at this website. They want you to sign up for their service. But the nice thing is this talks about how to write for your small business. Some of you might have to do some marketing, an email, some blogs, but it tells you how to write about or talk about your business without sounding like a salesman. A key component of our work is giving our message out. And sometimes it's easy to sound like a salesman. You might want to read that one first and then work backwards. So anyways, I want to thank you all for being part of the conversation and for listening to me ramble on about retail. It's been fun for me, and then I'm happy to answer any questions at this time. Just go ahead and unmute yourself, and I'll let Casey or Kelsey lead in this part.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, so I will send out these slides so you'll be able to access all those links later today. I don't see any questions, but there was a note that massage therapists generally prefer to be called massage therapists. I think you said masseur or something earlier. I've also found that to be true. So there you go. There's part of your marketing is you got to learn the right words to describe what you're doing. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to stick those in the chat. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you the best of luck in this holiday season and all seasons. So like we said earlier, if you are not set up with a business advisor, we are a free, confidential program that is funded by tax dollars. So you're already paying for us. We would love to be of assistance. And I'll piggyback a little bit off of something Peter said earlier. We actually have a number of specialists that we're working with as special contractors this year who have really niche information. We have several marketing specialists that we are working with. So if you needed help with social media or marketing in general, it's a really great opportunity to work one-on-one with some really talented specialists. So you could click that request advising button on our website or in the email that I send out later. And as you're filling out the advising request, mention that you're interested in working with one of the marketing specialists. We also have an accounting specialist, and I think all the other ones are marketing. There are several marketing ones. So feel free to explore that. But I don't see any questions, so we'll give you back the rest of this afternoon. Thanks again, everyone.